And welcome to Hero Power.
Finally,
Finally, it's been a while, guys. But
3 weeks.
yeah,
We're back.
we are back. Yeah,
I'm not dead.
some of us only, mostly. But I'm your host, Avanti.
Don't laugh too hard.
Yeah,
You'll rip the glue.
It hurts. And I am joined by my co-hosts, Zoroshio.
So after seeing our intro video not seeing it for 3 weeks, I realized somebody needs to make a bobblehead of me. That's all I do in the video is hold my head back and forth.
Oh, and Versika.
So I'm glad that I was able to help you guys break the cycle.
The cycle.
I did not fall victim to the next in line.
Yes.
Oh, for this week? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good. Yeah, so we got a lot to talk about, having been out for 3 weeks, but we've kind of condensed it down to what we feel is just the most important stuff to discuss.
And the most recent. We've
And
got
most
some of the
recent,
older
yeah.
stuff.
So what you're saying is you're getting like diet monster hero power.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
But first, Zoroshio and I both want to say thank you to everybody in the community for all the shout outs and the well wishes over the last couple of weeks. He had some issues 2 Wednesdays ago, and then last Wednesday I ended up having to go in for an emergency appendectomy, which if you don't have to, I don't highly recommend doing it for fun. It's just not. But as my surgeon said, do you guys know what the appendix does? Do you know why God put the appendix in the human body?
Why?
No.
So surgeons would have something to do. So that's really about it. Now, I looked at her and I said, "Well, I'm glad I gave you something to do today."
Now, so we do want to say big thank you to the community during both of those weeks when we had to be out for both of our healths. His obviously more severe than mine. The community was just great.
Show me up, right?
Yeah, the community was just great and sending well wishes via Twitter, and we just appreciate it. Now, during that time, we wanted to do a show, but we couldn't. And there was the tragic event of Toast the Badger passing, and I have a lot of experience with this type of loss. I have a friend also that had who had the same condition she does, and they also chose to take their life, and it's tragic, but just know that she's loved. And she's a big part of the community, and we're going to miss her greatly. She did nothing but impress the Hearthstone community as a whole, and I'm glad she was part of it.
She was on our short list to get on the show, so we were hoping to get to know her better, and I hate that we're not going to get that opportunity, but
And fibromyalgia it's a very debilitating condition. They don't know a cause for it, and there is not a cure for it, and it's debilitating. I have a friend of mine. I fortunately knew him at the prime of his life. Live action role played with him. He was in great shape, and was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And a few years later, he is having to walk assisted and pretty much a shell of the man he was, and he was only in his late 20s at the time, and he decided that he did not want to go through this physical pain anymore and chose to end his life. Now, one thing I want to stress is like him and Toast the Badger, they chose to take the matter in their hands and end their life. I don't consider that suicide. Suicide, and this is controversial, it's only my opinion, but suicide is to me a form of mental weakness. But choosing to take this path is not a form of mental weakness. She obviously let her family and close friends know because they helped her disseminate the information after she was gone. And this is a conscious choice she made to just put an end of her life story, and it takes a lot of strength to make that decision. And I commend her for the life she did live up to that point, and she'll always be remembered.
That's right. Okay. So with all of that said, again, thank you to everybody. We have no iTunes reviews or emails this week, so we will roll right into the news.
People were probably wondering if we'd pod faded.
Yeah.
We just kind of went part-time instead of full-time. No, we're here. We're back. So, in the news this week, in case you hadn't heard already, too bad, so sad, BlizzCon is sold out.
Sold out.
So they had 2 separate releases of tickets. The most recent of which was this past Saturday. And as some of you know, Zeroshio was trying to get tickets to
I was trying.
go and represent us out there this November. So, yeah. Zeroshio, what is the verdict?
So Wednesday evening, I got online with multiple devices in my house, along with the Legend of the Innkeeper crew. Big shout out to Vestidius, Arianwin, and Espo. And we all hit the button right as soon as it went live at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And only one machine got in, and it wasn't mine. Unfortunately, you can only buy 4 tickets at a time, and they needed 5. So they were not able to get tickets for me, and they were short 1 ticket. So I had to kind of stick it out on Saturday and go through the whole process again. Fortunately, they were willing to help me again because I told them if I could get in, I'd get the last ticket they need. And, well, I did. So I am going to BlizzCon.
Woohoo! Congratulations.
And I made sure to get the extra ticket for Espo's only friend, Rez. So Rez, who's coming back from Korea shortly, is going to join myself, Espo, Arianwin, Squishy Dragon, and Vestidius, all out at BlizzCon in November.
That's awesome. Sounds like it's going to be a good time.
Oh, and my wife. Yeah, she's going too. Yeah.
So, yeah, well, that's awesome. So we've had a couple of tournaments since we last recorded. We had the European Summer Playoffs, as well as this past weekend, the America's Summer Playoffs.
Yep. So,
I don't have the results for Europe in front of me, but our top 8 for the summer playoffs was just pretty much a who's who of Hearthstone NA pros. You had Fibonacci, you had Killin' All Day, you had Raze, you had the Jordude, PNC, Nalgwidan, Muzzy, and Dog. So, I mean...
Yeah, the only name on here I didn't recognize was the Jordude.
Yeah.
All the rest are staples of the HCT, DreamHack, and basically Open Cup circuit. Now, Fibonacci is the only one on that list that is not a staple of those tournaments. I mean, he does attend a lot of those tournaments. He mainly gets his points straight up from ladder grinding because he plays almost a complete list of warrior decks. So it's not common for him to place high in tournaments because of his strictness to warrior. Now, he did really well up at PAX East, which has also got him enough points along with his ladder climbs to compete in the HCT playoffs. And he's competed in most of the HCT playoffs and usually doesn't get very high. But right now we're finding out that warrior is a very good tournament class. Not necessarily a good ladder class, but it's really good in tournaments when you have a choice of banning a class. And he was my favorite going into this, and he came out of the Swiss rounds 7-0, undefeated.
Nice. That's awesome. So our top 4 qualifiers who are going to championships from the NA are Rays, Killing All Day, Nalgwidan, and Dog, which meant that our final 2 to determine the winner, they played it out, didn't they?
No, they
not?
didn't.
Okay.
They changed the format a little bit. Instead of going into a top 8 single elimination,
They just stop at the qualifiers.
or no, it was a top 16 single elimination. They do a top 8 double elimination.
Okay.
So the interesting story is here: Fibonacci went undefeated, and when he got into the top 8 qualifying rounds, he got matched up against Killin' All Day, which he defeated in the Swiss rounds. And Killin' All Day beat him, put him in the loser's bracket. Killin' All Day lost, had to face him a third time for basically the rubber match to decide the series between the two of them. The third match, Killin' All Day defeated Fibonacci, and those two just, it came down to predicting what Fibonacci was gonna queue in what order, and he was kind of consistently queuing Warrior first. And I think Killing All Day just picked up on that. Another notable match is the final elimination match was versus 2 powerhouses in the pro scene, Muzzy and Dog, and Dog just happened to have Muzzy's number that time. Muzzy came that close, like usual, to qualifying for championships. I expect to see him there eventually by the time Worlds comes along in January, I believe it usually is.
Always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, so great tournament. I watched most of it because I couldn't do a whole lot else. I was, recovering, so I laid on the couch in my living room or stood in my living room and walked circles and yelled at my screen and watched Hearthstone. So it was a lot of fun. Good weekend. After
It was
a crappy week. So
it was a very good weekend. You had a lot of coverage for this tournament. For the top 8, you had 2 Canadians in Fibonacci, the Jordude, and unfortunately, no Canadians qualify for the top 4. But your top 4 consist of 2 Americans, a Brazilian in Race, and a Argentinian in Nalgwidan. So we have some really good coverage across the map, and South America is stepping up their HCT game.
yes.
I'm really impressed with the way South America has been playing.
Yes, they have. They've been playing a lot better in the last few seasons.
It's like global games just put a fire under them.
Yeah.
It was like the minute when they entered into they were invited into global games and they competed. They probably didn't think they were going to be doing all that well. And the Argentina team and the Brazilian team both did really well as the Mexico team. And I really think that performance told them, hey, we can do this. We don't just have to play in the Copa America Cup that we hold down here. We can play against the who's who in the world, and they're proving it. And I'm really impressed.
Okay. All right. So, speaking on tournaments, before I jump to the next section, just want to let everyone know if you haven't heard yet, the Hero Power May Patron Tournament is this weekend on Sunday, May the 20th at 1 p.m. Eastern. I will be posting all of the links and everything in our patron-only Discord after the show, but the tournament is set up. You can start signing up, and this year, or this tournament, we're going to try some of the new Battle 5 features, including the open deck list feature. So basically, you will upload your deck lists into Battle 5. They will be hidden until the tournament starts. Once the tournament starts, all the deck lists will be made available, and we're just going to go out. We're going to have some fun. We're going to try some of the new stuff, some of the new decks before some of the nerfs that we're going to talk about later in the show hit. So this Sunday, 1 o'clock, if you're a $5 and up patron, you are automatically eligible to enter. If you are not, we will let you know when and if we are opening those signups up to other patrons. So, all right. Still talking about tournament coverage. Versika, why don't you give us our update on the UHL?
Okay, well, if you want like actual UHL rundowns, you can listen to the UHL rundown, and it will walk you through all the matches and how the games played out. So we'll just go ahead and do mine real quick. So week 2, because we didn't get a chance to talk about that, right?
No,
we didn't. Okay, so I actually got my first win. It was against Lore Master Eve. Yeah, it was 3-2, and it was fun. She played a great match. Unfortunately, it was supposed to be cast on the UHL channel, and one of the casters ended up getting caught at work and couldn't get home in time to cast the match. So Eve was kind enough to stream it on her channel. Or on the Belen's Chosen channel. I don't know if it's still there or not. I don't have a copy. I didn't stream it, so if it's not still on there, then it's kind of lost. And then we took week 3 off because of Toast. And then so last week, it was the week 3 match, and that was against Mike Lowe from ML Streams, and it went 3-2 the other direction. I went 2 games up on him early, and then he reverse swept me. So it was fun. I felt like I brought a very interesting lineup, and the first 2 were the decks I was the most confident with, and I really like the rogue list that I brought, but it's definitely a finesse list, and I knew it was a risk bringing it in against his list because he was bringing warrior, shaman, and priest, and I knew that if it had a chance, it was probably going to be against the shaman. I got the matchup I wanted in game 3, but I didn't get the draws I needed. So I made the decision to not reveal the win condition of the deck, and then he queued into priest. So I had a decision to make there, whether I was going to try and take the priest or whether I was going to save all the information for the warrior deck, because this rogue deck, once you figure it out, it's really easy to play around. So when I saw his turn 1 Keliseth hit the board, I immediately decided that I was just going to go ahead and let the game I was going to play it out, but I kind of got the feeling that I wasn't going to be effective in that game. So I saved it for the warrior matchup, and it went all the way into fatigue. And it was a good matchup, but it was really late. We actually didn't get started till a little after midnight Eastern. So it was almost 2 when
I watched it all.
That game up. And
I watched the whole thing.
I was so tired by the end. I made a pretty crucial misplay at the end of that. And I don't know that it necessarily cost me the game, but it would have given me like a 10% chance to win. Whereas the misplay that I made actually closed the game out and pretty much guaranteed that I wouldn't win. So.
Well, and to be honest, I was really excited when you were making the play, and you want to watch the whole thing. Versika has it on his channel, twitch.tv/Versika. But there was a situation where right at the end he could use Test Greymane to pretty much finish off the game. Unfortunately, there's a little mechanic that if you change to another Death Knight, another hero, you will then cast all of your rogues cards instead of the other class cards. And you put out Garrosh, which I was like, that's a strong play. And then as soon as you played Tess and I saw the first rogue card, I went, oh, wait. Oh, this is bad. Because you expected King Mosh to pop out,
right?
And pretty much that would have won you the game.
I think so. I mean, there was a chance that if King Mosh had hit, there was a chance that I win, but it was only because I had damaged everything with
that was very smart
hero power. So it didn't. My mind was tired, and I didn't get I didn't understand. I didn't put 2 and 2 together and come up with 4.
What's funny is I saw you play it, and then I saw your head cock on your camera, and you kind of looked up, which is what you do when you think, and you're like, "Oh yeah." and in your defense, I didn't catch it until you did it too, so I probably would have made the exact same play, and it was like 1:45 to 2 o'clock.
It was
about
late.
When that play hit, so it was late. It was late, but I think you did really good. It was a nail biter the whole time. Both of you guys played really solid Hearthstone.
I felt like the Paladin match and the Mage match was probably some of my best Hearthstone since I've been playing the game, and especially since my stroke. I haven't felt confident, so that first Paladin match, being able to negotiate that against the Warrior, which was the match I was most scared of, bringing that Paladin in. Once I saw that he was going, I was hoping for Rush Warrior. Once I saw that he was going into the tank up Rogue, the tank up Warrior, I was like, oh, this is going to be tough. I don't know if I can win this. So getting there and then going into that Mage matchup, when I saw that he queued back into the Warrior, that was the matchup I wanted with the Mage. So I felt very confident in that match, and I felt like going back and watching the play, and I went back and watched it from Mike's point of view because he streamed it as well. Watching that play and seeing what he had in his hands and knowing what I was thinking in my head, I was making the right reads and the right calls. So it was very good. And then, Rogue has been my Achilles heel in UHL. I mean, I don't think have I won a Rogue game yet?
I don't think so.
I don't think I have. I think Rogue is the only class that I haven't won with yet. So it's my Achilles heel for sure. And actually this week,
let's talk about this week. Who do you play this week?
So this week I play Chris Plummer, who was one of 2 people who swept me when I was actually trying to win last season. Ben Reddington's he swept me, and Andrew's Living swept me. But both of those games, I went really off meta to try to Hail Mary. But games where I really set out and planned out what I wanted to do, Ridiculous Hat reverse swept me, and Ziggy Sarah reverse swept me, but Chris straight up swept me that week, and I brought a lineup that I felt like was competitive and off meta, but still meta enough that it should have been competitive. So there's a little bit of there's a little bit of nervousness heading into this week, and so looking at who I had left in weeks 5 and 6. I drew the trifecta to end the end. I end up having to go against Chris Plummer, Ridiculous Hat, and Spivey.
Wow.
So that's my next 3 weeks, and just looking at it, and I'm going through the classes, and I'm like, okay, so I've been thinking about Hat and Spivey since I saw the schedule. I already had planned 2 of the classes that I wanted to play for each of them, which left 1 class floating for each of those guys. So with the announcement of the nerfs, that changed how I how I prioritized what I was playing. So in the end, I ended up landing on bringing Shaman, Priest, and Rogue for Chris. And when I put down Rogue, my heart sank. I was just 2 weeks in a row. But it was the only class left, because all the other classes, I have a unique lineup and a unique deck list designed specifically for my opponents. So Rogue was the odd man out. So Chris gets the Rogue. So here I am bringing a Shaman deck that I'm not super confident with, a Priest deck that I'm very confident with, and I have no idea what I'm bringing for my Rogue. And our match is in 2 days.
Well, fortunately, in the patron-only Discord, you do have a wonderful channel for your practice partners, and you have the brain of a Man-at-Arms who is very good at building up infographics and charts to tell you your weaknesses and strengths in your matchups. And I think since you started using those tools that Man-at-Arms provides, which he also does for the Hero Power Rangers in SHL, Sylvanas League and THL, I've seen a more solid line of decks that you've been bringing. Obviously, they still have your spin on them, but you come to the games, to me, more prepared on what to do against your opponent, not just what to do with your deck. And that's been a big change. And I've been really impressed with your play, and I can't wait to see the remaining weeks.
So I do want to give Man-at-Arms props for the mage list that I played this past week. He actually brought that list to my attention.
Yes.
And there were a couple of things in it that didn't fit my play style. So I traded out some things. I added in Lore Master Cho. I added in a couple of things. I actually went down to I had 2 spells in the deck, and they were both Book of Specters. So Lore Master Cho was actually a tremendous asset early. He actually ended up dying pretty quickly, but he gave me the Shield Slam, and when I saw that Shield Slam, I was just like, that is going to be perfect for when I play Jaina.
Yeah.
So I kept it in my hand for the whole time waiting for Jaina to come out. But yeah, he gets the credit for bringing that list to my attention. Like I said, I ended up modifying something like 9 cards in it, but it was still, the bones of the list came from him. And what was really funny, real quick, and we'll move on to the next thing. One of the modifications I made when I was playing the list and just kind of testing some things out is I actually put Illidan Storm Rage in the list.
Yes, I saw that.
I put it in the main list, right? So I took it out right before I submitted the deck list.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw you play it.
You did, because Syndragosa gave me Illidan Storm Rage.
That's right. So it worked out for you.
So it worked out. It did what I'd hoped Illidan would do in the list, but it was always awkward to play him. So it kind of
cost.
Yeah, it was just, it kind of worked out. So it was funny. But yeah, so now, and I guess I'll just go ahead and talk about this now. So I'm actually in the process of changing jobs. One of the reasons why I've had such a hard time finding practice partners is my schedule, my day ends at 8 and begins at 4 a.m. Eastern.
Oof.
So for West Coast people, I'm going to bed when they're getting off work. Like Wednesday is by far my latest night. So now, hopefully, if it works out the way that I hope it works out, we're looking at like a 10 or 11 o'clock end of day and like a 6 or 7 o'clock morning. So hopefully that will make me a little more Hearthstone normal. And maybe instead of just a practice channel where people can like type out their ideas, I might actually be able to get practice partners and actually practice with them instead of taking my rank on ladder with decks. But it's neither here nor there. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited, and I haven't talked to you guys about this yet because we had a bunch of stuff to catch up on before the show. But I have a new project in mind, and it's going to be something that is sort of it's going to be a descendant of Hero Power. So it's the project is called Hive Mind, and I'll be fleshing that out in the next few weeks.
Cool.
So I'm pretty excited about it, the concept, and hopefully it works out the way that I want it to. But I got to make this job transition first, and then once that happens, and UHL comes to a close, then I'll put my effort into it. But I'm pretty excited.
Awesome. I'm excited to hear more about it. So, all right. Well, that brings us to the main topic of this week's show. And as Versika and Zeroshio have both touched on already, we have announced balance changes coming pretty quickly. And these were all kind of some changes we have been talking about in the past, and we kind of expected them. There's nothing here that really, I don't feel like there was anything here that was really a surprise that jumped out at anybody like, oh, they're changing that card. No. So,
well, just to preface this, and we haven't done a show in a couple weeks, so we didn't really get to talk about this. XR did say that changes were going to be coming out, but they were going to wait until after the current season of HCT so that it didn't disrupt any of the playoffs that were going on. And then shortly after that, they leaked some information about certain cards on the radar, and there were a lot more cards than have been nerfed. There were 6 cards that were nerfed, and I think the list was almost a dozen cards that they were looking at. And most of these balance changes affect all those cards in one or decks in one way or another. Yeah, let's just get right into it.
All right. So the first card is the Naga Sea Witch. So for those of
which
you
is in Wild.
Well, yeah. So for those of you that were unfamiliar, it's a 5-mana 5/5. When it comes into play, all your cards cost 5. Well, the card will now be an 8-mana 5/5. Your cards all cost 5. So it's just a mana cost increase of 3.
Mm-hmm. And this is pretty much just to address the Giants lock decks or Giants decks. I guess there are multiple different classes that have them. And what happened was they changed some sequencing inside of Hearthstone, and what it did is it caused Naga Sea Witch to apply the 5 before the discount for the various giants: Molten Giant, Sea Giant, and Mountain Giant, all those giants. So pretty much you get for 5 mana you get a handful of 0-cost giants. Well, they didn't want to change that sequencing that they put in there because that fixed many other things. So this balances out. So instead of turn 5 getting a board full of giants, now it happens on turn 8, which is more manageable for most classes to deal with. I think this is a positive change, and most of the sources of Wild format, especially Into the Wild with our friends Nate and Craig of Canada, they like this change. So they're the experts in my eyes, at least on the public front, and I'm going to parrot that. I don't play a lot of Wild, but I think this is going to be healthy for Wild.
I'm right there with them.
Yeah, I like it too. I think it's a solid change without killing an archetype.
Yep. So, all right. That brings us to our next card that's being changed. And as Zeroshio had mentioned, this one will directly affect some of the decks that are being played in HCT currently. And that is the Spiteful Summoner. So, Spiteful Summoner used to read 6 mana 4/4, reveal a spell from your deck, summon a random minion with the same cost. Well, the ability is staying the same. The power and toughness are staying the same. But it's going from a 6-mana minion to now being a 7-mana minion. So, really, the question here is, do we see this change as being impactful enough to prevent this deck from continuing on post-nerf?
For Spiteful Priest, I don't think this change will allow that deck to survive because it throws off the curve really bad. However, with Spiteful Druid, this isn't going to phase them at all. I think Spiteful Druid is still going to be an archetype. You might actually see certain way. There's just going to be ramp into it anyway. So, 6 mana or 7 mana, it's really not going to affect it much. I don't think this changes Spiteful Druid at all. The build's going to stay the same.
I think the build stays the same. I think what it does for Spiteful Druid is now it can create an issue where you have to make an impactful decision do you Malfurion Death Knight or Malfurion the Pestilent, or do you Spiteful Summoner? When you evaluate the deck, is now having 2 minions that directly compete with your ability to cast Malfurion on 7. Are you going to be putting yourself into awkward positions because of that? And if so, is it worth just playing your Ultimate Infestation? I don't know that it necessarily kills the deck, but now you have to look at it and evaluate, does the possibility of having to make that decision make this deck more desirable than the Hadronox Druid? I feel like this change makes Hadronox a better deck because you're not going to be putting yourself in that situation to begin with. I do agree with you in the fact that I do think this effectively kills Spiteful Priest.
I do think that that it is going to make an interesting choice because 7 mana does compete with Malfurion. So that can really affect your curve and how you plan on mapping out your game. Taunt Druid is a good deck, but it still has a lot of holes and can be countered. I have been playing with great success a mid-range Druid, and they're calling it 2015 Druid because it looks like it's straight out of 2015 with a couple cards added to it, and it is really, with the current meta of Paladins on the ladder, it's wrecking them. Being able to get back to having Spreading Plague in your deck.
Right.
And I've actually seen Spreading Plague going in some of the Spiteful builds now. And you might see Spreading Plague going into some of the Spiteful builds because you're hoping to draw the Spreading Plagues, play them on 6, set yourself up a wall, and then on 7 you can Spiteful. So it may just change some of the builds out a bit. It'll be interesting, but I do think Spiteful Druid will still exist in the meta.
I don't think it'll be as good, so I think that the meta in general will evolve past it. So I think it just straight up kills Spiteful Priest. I think it makes everything worse coming into those turns. But and to not have any of the removal, that's the big thing, is you're sacrificing your removal relying just on minions. So now you're having to wait even longer before your Spiteful turn. And if the Spiteful misses, then I don't know. I feel like
misses.
I feel
you mean
like,
you get an 8/8 and a 4/4 for 7 mana? That's a big miss.
But I feel like most decks handle. I feel like most decks handle everything but Tarantus and Ultrasaur pretty well.
Yeah, but in my experience, Tarantus and Ultrasaur, are usually leading the charge.
I was getting ready to say, I see a lot of Tarantus, but
when you're looking at Tarantus, Ultrasaur, and Deathwing being 3/5 of your options, that's really what makes Spiteful Druid so strong. Is you only have a what's that 40% chance to get an 8/8, and a 60% chance to get
something else.
2 powerful 12/12s or a 7/14.
Well, Matt at Arms in chat says, seeing that a similar change was made to Bone Mare and it fell off the face of the earth, he thinks the card may be dead.
Yeah,
well, and that's a good point. And Bone Mare did not fall off the face of the earth the first week. And then people started doing the math and realizing that Fungalmancer was better value for the mana. But I don't think there is a Fungalmancer option for Spiteful Summoner. So I don't know if the main reason Bone Mare ended up falling off the meta is because there was another option, and Spiteful Summoner doesn't really have one.
I swear we take 2 weeks off and here you guys end up finishing each other's sentences and agreeing. We just can't have this. It's not going to work. All right, moving on.
I thought you were going to say finishing each other's sandwiches.
No. All right, Moving on, the next change is one that I'm very happy with, and it's to Dark Pact. So, Dark Pact is a 1-mana warlock spell that says destroy a friendly minion, restore 8 health to your hero. So, this has been kind of the trigger for a lot of the cube block decks. They will play the cube, copy their, eat their demons, and then Dark Pact it. Well, Dark Pact is still going to be 1 mana. It's still going to destroy a friendly minion, but it's only going to grant them half of the amount of health they were getting. So instead of restoring 8 health, they're now going to get 4, which feels more manageable to me. How about you guys?
I don't think they hit it hard enough.
I like this change, but mainly this is because I'm a cube block player. There are a lot of times I'm Dark Pacting at like 26 health anyways.
Yeah.
With like a lackey on 6, which we'll get to that one in just a minute. So I don't think this is going to take it out of the decks. Now,
I don't think it's impactful.
A lot of people said that they would have liked to seen the mana go up to 2. But if you send the mana to 2, then it can't be eaten by Skulking Geist. And it takes one of the major counters away. So increasing the mana, I don't think was a good option on this because it would actually make it, harder to counter. And I've been playing with Ratcatcher in my decks because people have been teching in Skulking Geist to get rid of my Dark Pack. So I put in Ratcatcher to eat my my cubes late game. But I think this is a good change. They probably didn't hit it hard enough. I think it doesn't so much affect the deck as much as the playability. It won't be a huge comeback mechanic that Warlock has, but it's still going to be an early game tempo swing. And yeah, I don't see that deck changing too much either, even with the other nerfs we'll be talking about next.
All right.
I would have rather seen them. I would have rather seen them move it to 2, keep it at 8 health, but make it destroy a demon.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, that's an interesting thought. I mean, even if they kept it at 1, making it destroy a demon, because right now you almost never use it to destroy a demon.
Right.
You don't want it to destroy a demon. You want it to destroy the things the demons are that have demon synergy, like Possessed Lackey and Carnivorous Cube. So that would be. I think if they made that change, though, it would almost kill the card. It would kill it in Cube Lock.
So here's my thing is, with Warlock, you hurt yourself to help yourself.
Yes.
Okay, so right now there is no downside to Dark Pact the way it's being used right now.
Nope.
No downside whatsoever. And to me, that seems very un-Warlock-like.
And with the change, it still doesn't have a downside.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. With a hero power, with the best hero power in the game, hands down, I don't think anyone's going to argue that. Warlock has the best hero power in the game. You have basically negated the downside of having the most powerful hero power in the game. The only thing that kept that balance was taking the 2 damage and having to work yourself back. So, for me, I think you should have to sacrifice something that is impactful to you, which is the Void Lords, which is the Doom Guards, which is the Despicable Dread Lords. Those are the types of things that you should have to harm in order to gain that health back. I played a game this morning with I was on Shaman, and I was playing against a Warlock. I ended up outvaluing him in the end, but I had the quest to do the damage to your opponent, and I did it all in that game against the Warlock. Is it 60 damage? I forget what the quest is. But whatever your deal so much damage to a hero.
Yeah, I think they changed it to 60, yeah.
Yeah, it used to be 100, but now it's 60.
Yeah.
I did all of it in one game.
Wow.
Having to take out the Warlock, which is absolutely ridiculous. But anyways, I don't think they hit this one hard enough. I think they missed this. I think they missed on this.
Okay. So the next card is, as Zoroshio hinted to, the Possessed Lackey. So this is another part of that Q block combo. Possessed Lackey is a 5 mana 2/2 Death Rattle Recruit a Demon. It's now going to be a 6 mana 2/2 Death Rattle Recruit a Demon. So here it only went up 1 mana cost. Do you feel like this is going to be enough to deter people from running it, or again, is this one of those we feel like didn't do enough? Because like you, like I kind of like the Dark Pack change, but like you, I feel like Possessed Lackey, that's not going to make a difference.
It's similar to Spiteful Summoner, whereas it doesn't really change the deck so much, but it might affect the curve. It basically gives you one extra turn to deal with the situation of Possessed Lackey. The problem is most decks that can deal with Possessed Lackey on 5 deal with it just as well on 6. And the ones that can't deal with it on 5 can't deal with it on 6, because the best way to do it is silence it or polymorph, transform it. And really, there's no real 6 mana transforms or anything like that. And removal really helps it. It's just going to play right into a Blizzard. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of this. I mean, I like this deck, so I like that it's still playable. But I don't see the Q block decks changing whatsoever. They're going to be able to pretty much stay the same.
I agree. I don't think this nerf is impactful at all. And unlike Spiteful Summoner, which when you cast it, you hit that 10 mana, there's a chance if you're running any other spell that you hit that. But most of the time, you're just going to have the 10 mana spells in there. You're going to pull one of, what, eight different things right now? Is it in a pool of 8? Is it 8 or 10?
Pulling it for Lackey?
For Spiteful Summoner.
5. On 10 mana, it's 5.
Okay.
There's only 5 10 mana.
Two giants, Deathwing, Emrys.
No, it's 1 giant, Emrys, Deathwing, Tyrantus, and Ultrasaur. Only
right,
1 giant is 10
Mountain
mana.
Giant
The other was
is
12.
12, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so this problem doesn't exist for Lackey, because if you're playing in the deck that you use Lackey in, you are pulling one of 2 things. So the fact that it costs 1 more doesn't really matter, because you're not going to cast it until the turn you can kill it. Most of the time, because you don't want it to be silenced. You want it to do what it's going to do. So now, instead of Lackey Dark Pack on 6 and gain 8 life, you're going to Lackey and Dark Pact on 7 and gain 4 life, which means that if you're going to win, you're going to win with 26 health instead of 30 health.
Yeah. One of the requested changes for this was not to recruit it, but to put it in your hand. But I understand that Blizzard really likes the recruit mechanic and doesn't want to take away from that recruit mechanic. It's oppressive when it hits Voidlord, and it's really bad when it hits Doomguard. There was another suggestion that Doomguard only gets charged as a battle cry.
Right.
So it would only get charged when you discard the cards out of your hand, but if you were to summon it, it would just be a 5/7 demon without charge. Again, I think both of those options may have been better ways to deal with the Possessed Lackey Q block kind of shenanigans, but this change doesn't. It just doesn't touch it.
And once again, you come back to charge being a problem, but that's a dead horse. We've beaten it. But now you're looking at taunt as a potential problem as well. So what do you do to get around that? Well, if recruit is going to be around and it's a mechanic they like and it's going to stay, then maybe we consider changing both charge and taunt into a battle cry. Battle cry, this minion gains charge, or battle cry, this minion gains taunt. So that way, if they're recruited, it's just the body. Any death rattles or anything like that would still be in effect. But they're not going to get the benefits of being played from the hand. Because right now, there is no benefit from playing it from your hand versus recruiting it.
Yeah, and I think
I mean,
don't
I'm
know
sure
if
that's an unpopular opinion, but
that seems like a really heavy-handed change, because that would drastically affect a lot of decks, like deck we're gonna play tonight, Recruit Warrior.
Right.
Also, Taunt Hadronox Taunt Druid would severely be affected by that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can get behind that. But I do think that the changes they made that are affecting the Q block deck or Warlock as a whole, just it doesn't really do anything. It's not really going to. It might slow it down a turn, but in the grand scheme of things, that's not really going to affect the outcome of the game.
So, and the next card we talk about goes back to Recruit again. So they have said time and time again that they don't want things in the game that is going to affect their ability to design cards for later. If we're seeing that Recruit is continuing to cause a problem and you're not willing to make the heavy-handed changes, maybe Recruit is not the mechanic you hoped it would be.
That's fair. The difference between Recruit and something like Charge or Taunt is Recruit will eventually phase out of Standard and go away because the cards that are attached to won't stay in Standard. Where affecting Charge and Taunt directly would affect every future set coming out in Standard, because it is prevalent in the core sets, Classic and Basic.
But I think going back, when we talked about Charge being the problem, one of the main problems with Recruit is that it recruits Charge minions.
Fair.
And then you look at the nerfs. The nerf to Possess Lackey is partially because of Doomguard, which you could actually even relate some of that Dark Pact in a way, because it's empowering the Lackey and empowering the Cube, which creates two Doomlords or two Doomguards.
Yep.
And then our next card, which is called the Arms. Go ahead.
I agree.
And Crystal Core, which is the card we're going to be talking about after that. All of those are problematic because of what they bring into play and the Charge being able to do it when it comes down.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Avanti's missed his cue, so go ahead, Avanti.
I'm
He
here.
was asleep at the wheel.
I wanted to talk about Called Arms because it's been one of my favorite cards to come around in a long time. I
Yes.
love this card. It's 4 mana, recruit 3 minions that cost 2 or less. Now, we've been seeing this in just about every flavor of Paladin that you can pretty much stuff it into.
Except Odd.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, that you can stuff it into.
Yeah, which now the change is it goes from 4 mana to 5 mana.
Yeah.
So now it can go in Odd,
But it can't go in even.
but it'll only pull 1 once.
1 once, that's right. So
It'll only pull 1 mana minions.
yeah, 1
Yeah,
mana.
1 mana
minions, yeah.
minions. Sorry.
So now, some people have argued that the 1 mana slot is more stacked, especially in Paladin, than the 2 mana slot, because you have 1/3 minions, you have 1/1 with Taunt and Charge. So and you couldn't do that in the even deck.
Right.
But in Odd, in even you're only pulling 2 cost minions, but in Odd you'll only pull 1 cost minions. But they say they may impact the board more than the 2 cost minions because they have things like Divine Shield, Taunt, and other effects. I love this change, but I don't love it for the reasons everybody else seems to. The impact on even an Odd Paladin. I love it because it actually opens up a great mana slot that's really void of anything in Control Paladin.
Right.
As well as it can bring out some really heavy hitters in Control Paladin, like Millhouse Mana Storm. And having a 4/4 pulled from it is amazing. And in the meta right now, having Millhouse Mana Storm isn't terrible, because what are they going to do? Have one of the 2 UIs, or maybe both UIs, free, that are the only spells in their deck? Or
Yeah.
if they're playing the crazy mage deck that only has Book of Specters, it'll be the only spell that ends up free. They're so the meta is so minion heavy right now that Millhouse Manastorm is actually a decent tech, and I've seen it in a couple odd spots in the rank 5 floor. People are actually putting it right into their deck because why not? What are you going to cast for free? You probably don't have any spells in your hand anyways.
I tend to agree with you on this. I think that this was almost an indirect buff meant to be a nerf. And I think mostly because now it goes into odd paladin, which I do agree. I think the 1 mana cost minions could end up being more impactful than the 2 mana cost minions. And I think this is like when they said that Call to Arms was getting the nerf, it was the one I kind of didn't disagree. I kind of disagreed with. I don't really feel like it was as powerful as everybody else thought. And the big reason was, especially in Even Paladin, is I couldn't run just one acidic swamp ooze.
Mm-hmm.
I had to run 2 because there's a good chance it's going to get one. The one is going to get pulled with Call to Arms.
Maybe both.
Maybe both, and that's happened a couple of times. So I felt like it had what I like in a card. It had a decent mana cost for what it did, and there was a risk of playing it. And, now in the 5 slot, Odd Paladin, it's not really going to risk much, so it's a safe include. I feel like now in Control Paladin, like you said, the 5 slot isn't a slot that you normally have something resting in. So it's normally an awkward turn anyway. And then I feel like it empowers Murloc Paladin. I feel like, now that people, because Call to Arms is no longer an Even Paladin, you have effectively, like, given that deck an arrow to the knee. Because it now won't be able to keep up with Odd Paladin, and it won't be able to keep up with Murloc Paladin. So, now also you got to look at just a mid-range or tempo style paladin now works really well with this because once again there wasn't much in that 5 slot, so now you can tempo this out on 5 and it's not competing with a Consecrate, it's not competing with a Blessing of Kings. I feel like this forces us to expand our minds a little bit, whereas we were so locked into this belongs in Even Paladin and this belongs in this spot and this is what this is used for. Now that you've taken that away from us, now we can start to see the bigger picture, and you don't have to look at it and say, well, is this as good as Even Paladin? Now you have to make that determination, and I feel like it spreads more evenly out over the rest of Paladin. So like I said, I think this is an indirect buff.
Indirect buff in a way, but it clearly hits Even Paladin right in the gonads.
It nerfs.
It almost destroys it.
It does.
But a lot of people were saying that Odd Paladin is just going to take its place, like Even Paladin took its place. When the meta first came out and people were just playing Odd Paladin, then Even Paladin was better because of Call to Arms, and now Odd Paladin is going to be better because of Call to Arms. But I think people are going to find out that you're going to have to water your deck down of too few 1-drops to get quality 1-drops, and if you overload the 1-drops to be more effective early game, and on turns 1 and 3, then you kind of hurt your Call to Arms. So it's going to take some finesse in building the deck, and I do think it does open up a slot for Control Paladin to come back. I have seen some really neat Control Paladin builds, and I'm excited for that because I've got almost 2,000 wins with Paladin. Paladin's my favorite class.
All right, so last
card. And this one has been nerfed before, so it's the second time around for nerfs for this card. And that is the Crystal Core. So it is a 5 mana for the rest of your game. For the rest of the game, your minions are 5/5. So it will now be a 5 mana for the rest of the game. Your minions are 4/4. So, gotta say, of every card in Hearthstone, this is the one I despise the most. If I was Thanos and had to throw something I love off of a cliff to get the soul gem, to get the gauntlet, I would snap my fingers and make this card no longer exist. That would be the only nerf I find acceptable for this card. What about you?
Spoilers. God. Okay, so the crystal core is the result of the journey from below quest for
Caverns
rogues.
Below.
Caverns
Yeah,
below.
Caverns below.
Caverns below quest. I do think this is a solid change because 4/4s are easier to deal with most board clears in most classes. However, I don't think this changes the deck too much. You're going to be able to accomplish the quest just as easily with Sonya's Shadow Song, which is pretty much all in one turn, using her and a boar. And I think they should have made Crystal Core cost 7, so that it was at least four mana with preparation. But they didn't do that. Will this keep your opponent from killing you in one turn? I don't think so. Will it make them take an extra turn to get that extra charger they need to make up the damage on the board? Instead of being 25 damage, they have 20. Yeah, it might take one extra turn, but I don't think it really will affect how bad it feels to lose this deck. Now, I will say this. The Quest Rogue doesn't have a tremendously high win rate because it does have to have a perfect storm. It just feels really bad when you lose to it.
I still think they nerfed the wrong card.
Yeah, Stone Touch Boar, I assume?
Nope, Shadow Step.
Oh, Shadow Step, okay.
Yeah, I think Shadow Step is the fundamental problem with Quest Rogue. I think I'm not a huge fan of zero-cost spells anyway, but a zero-cost spell that also reduces the mana cost of something else in a game where you aren't allowed to interact on your opponent's turn, and in a game that allows things to attack the turn they come into play. I feel like that is too powerful of a card, and I've said this for a couple of years now. I was one of the ones playing the Leroy Shadow Step combo before they nerfed Leroy, and even then, I felt like they nerfed the wrong card. So, I feel like Shadow Step either needs to lose its mana reduction, or it needs to cost mana to compensate for the mana reduction. I felt like the Rogue Quest was fine at 5/5s. The problem was Shadow Step and its ability to make that one turn, the perfect storm turn, to make that one turn happen. You take Shadow Step out of that equation, and that turn doesn't happen.
That's fair. Now, here's my question. With all these changes we see, we obviously collectively agree we don't think the decks themselves will necessarily change, but it looks like it might slow a couple of them down a turn or two. With these changes, do we see it affecting the meta? And I mainly ask this because you mentioned the possibility of certain decks and certain classes like Warrior. You mentioned, before we went on the air, Versika, that Warrior might step up to kind of a top tier 2 slot in the meta. Do we think that is true for Warrior, possibly any other classes?
So I don't know about your experience with Warrior at the rank you're in right now, but my experience with Warrior below, I'm playing the same decks. I feel like I'm seeing streamers play up at the high single digits and in Legend, and I feel like the main two decks holding Control Warrior back right now are Quest Rogue and the mid range paladins, whether it's odd or even, and that's because once you brawl on 5, you regain board control, and then it's really easy to go from there. So I feel like I feel like Quest Rogue. I feel like that nerf isn't going to be enough to affect its ability to combat the early game for odd control warrior, but that tank up ability, putting those 4 stacks of armor on, will make it a lot harder to take out before they can cast that brawl. I mean, that 1 point adds up when you're armoring up for 4 each turn leading up, and then now they've got that much more. Well, 4 turns in, that's an extra minion that they have to apply pressure with, and if they weren't hitting you to begin with, it's substantial. Then you've got to make it through as the quest rogue. You got to make it through 2 brawls. You got to make it through the flurries. I think that's going to be a tough go. And then with Call to Arms going to 5, that puts it into brawl range. You don't get that. You don't get that big swing turn right before they get to brawl. So I feel like that's a huge boon too. And while I don't think Control Warrior will go to Tier 1, I think it will move up that Tier 2 list and become a pretty effective ladder deck. Right now, it's already pretty good in tournaments, but I feel like this will make it a little more playable on ladder.
So one of the things I've noticed in my rank and in the league is the odd tank up warrior actually has a pretty decent win rate against Quest Rogue as it is. It's not astronomical, but it has a better chance than a lot of other decks.
Right.
However, this change allows them to fill the board up with their minions right after the quest, and you can just do 1 tank up and Reckless Flurry and clear the whole board.
Right.
Before, you had to have tank up, Reckless Flurry, and
a whirlwind,
some extra armor or a whirlwind effect or something to do that last point of damage across the rest of the board. So I think this increases that gap for Quest. For Quest Rogue to lose to Odd Tank Up Warrior, and I think a lot of the other changes with a Spiteful Summoner and Lackey will slow the game down that 1 turn that basically can net a armor and board advantage for the Warrior. I think that Warrior, whether it be the rush mechanic or the tank up mechanic, I think Warrior's in a good spot to move up, not only in tournament play, but also on the ladder. I hope this revives Warrior. I like Warrior, and I'll be talking a little bit more about that when we do our closeout of the audio. I'll give my last thoughts on Warrior.
Speaking of which, we are 20 minutes till 9, good sirs. We need to move this along.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. We knew the discussion was going to take a while.
Yeah.
Tavern Brawl this week is top 2 standard. This is something we've seen before. Choose 2 cards. They'll fill your deck with them. So,
I think this is the first time they've restricted us to standard.
To standard, yeah. I think the last time it was top 2.
And it
was just top 2 because there was no standard wild back then. So
they've been doing a lot of this where they're just restricting us to standard, and I like it. It's fun. I went in, did Mana Worm and Arcane Missiles, matched up against another mage doing Mana Worm and Arcane Missiles, and barely beat him, and I was done.
Cool.
I did a 1 and done. I played Stone Tusk Boar and Dire Frenzy.
Nice. That's awesome.
It was good. Sick. My opponent couldn't do anything.
That's a great idea.
I took a screenshot and put it in our Discord. I think at one point, let me pull it up here real quick. So at one point, I think he had 13 cards left in his deck, and I still had 31.
Phew.
Wow. All right. So that brings us to this week's deck list. And as we're referencing the tournaments earlier that happened this past weekend, Frozen, who is a well-known NA player, brought a really cool recruit warrior that got a lot of focus in the tournament, and so we thought we'd take a look at that. So the deck list is as follows: 2 Ironhide, 2 Shield Slam, 2 Bring It On, 1 Dead Man's Hand, 2 Execute, 2 Forge of Souls, 1 Slam, 2 Warpath, 1 Reckless Flurry, 2 Shield Block, 2 Blood Razor, 2 Brawl, 2 Gather Your Party, and then it starts the expensive run of legendaries. You've got Geosculptor Yip, Gromosh Hellscream, Rotface, Scourgelord Garrosh, the Lich King, the Woe Cleaver, and Ysera. So this is about a 15,000 dust deck if you're building it.
Bringing back some Wallet Warrior.
Yeah. And this deck not only was played by Frozen, it's been played by a few different streamers on various streams. I know that Kibler played it a little bit. He was mainly practicing it so he could cast for this deck. But also Cora, who played on hashtag Team Toast in UHL, playing on the Team Toast team, she went to a 3-2 victory utilizing this deck and piloted it expertly. So big shout out to Songbird Cora.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if she had any different inclusions in it, but I went back and watched the match and looked at the list, and it looked really similar. So we didn't
From
get to
hearing
see her
on her stream, I don't believe she did.
Okay. Well, we will talk about this deck as we play it. As we said, we've run a little long, so instead of going into a deep dive now, if you want to hear the deep dive on how to play the deck, be sure to check out the play portion of our show on the video on our website or on YouTube. All right.
And our website is heropowerhs.com. And honestly, just to touch on that, we're really going to be deep diving into it because we haven't had a lot of practice with this deck. So we don't have a lot of deep dive yet.
All right. Last thoughts. Versika, we'll start with you.
Have fun. Nerfs are coming. If you like the decks that are seeing the changes, get your time in now. It's we're midway through the month. Regardless of where you are on the ladder, there is still time to get to your goal. Pick a deck that you love and play it. It doesn't matter what it is right now. I feel like the whether you like the meta or not, it's so balanced right now. You can win or lose with anything. So play what you like, play what fits your play style, and don't worry about the wins. They'll come.
All right. Zeroshio, you said you had something you wanted to talk about during the last thoughts.
Yeah, if you follow the 1600 Dust podcast like I do, every year they do a Know Your Role, and they usually do it, about the start of summer, the end of spring, and they go over all 9 classes, and they bring on an expert to talk about the various classes. Last year, I was esteemed enough to be asked to come on as a Paladin expert, and they like to rotate the experts around a little bit, so they found a wonderful host as the Paladin expert. They'll be announcing that later at 1600 Dust on Twitter. But I have been asked to come on as the Warrior expert because I do have quite a bit of experience with specifically Control Warrior and have made really good strides in that in THL in the past, Team Hearth League. So we will be doing that on my Twitch channel. They're doing something different this year. They're actually going to do 30-minute breakdown shows, and they're going to live stream them on the Experts Twitch channel. So you can follow my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/ZeroshioHS, and it'll be Saturday evening. Just follow my Twitch channel to get the exact time, or you can follow me on Twitter at Zeroshio on Twitter. The exact time, I think I have to figure out the East Coast or West Coast time. I think it's going to be 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, but I could be off on that slightly by an hour or so. So make sure to follow my Twitch channel, and you'll be notified when I go live. And I'll also be making announcements, and already have, on Twitter.
Awesome. All right, guys. That's going to do it. If you're joining us on Twitch or YouTube, please stay tuned for the live play portion of our show. If you are listening via the audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast. You can find all of our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOgamers or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you enjoy the show, you'd like to help support and improve it, or if you would like to join our patron-only Discord, or take part in any of our quarterly patron tournaments, you can find all of that information at patreon.com/heropower. And we will see you all again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power. Don't forget to use your hero power. And don't forget to use your hero power. Making up for the last 2 weeks.
All right, gentlemen. Who's driving this week?
Oh, I should probably get into Hearthstone, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's me, isn't it?
That's you.
But wait, I was supposed to drive last week and the week before.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh wait, yeah, that's right. My work is never done. Okay, I'm getting into Hearthstone right now. I was so excited to say, don't forget to use your hero power 3 times. All right. Make sure to choose the correct deck.
That is important.
Because I have so many right now. Don't challenge me. Go away. Now I'm getting in. You're jumping the gun there, Versika.
I couldn't help it. I had to troll him a little bit.
Just a little.
I've not been able to troll him for like weeks.
For those that didn't see it on stream, he sent me a challenge right as I was about to pick my deck. So I have played this a little bit. I don't have a great win rate with it yet, but I haven't been very practiced with it as well.
All right. Hey, one shot the spectate boss. I'll take it all day long.
I did too. Maybe they made a change. Nah.
So here's the thing. We have Grommash Hellscream, Forge of Souls, and Bloodrazor in our hand, and we're against a Paladin. The Bloodrazor is going to be very valuable, but we already have the Forge of Souls in our hand. And it's guaranteed to get us at least one Bloodrazor because there's only 2 Bloodrazors and a Woe Cleaver in the deck.
Right. So I say we throw back the Bloodrazor and the Grommash and keep the Forge.
Exactly, because we know it's going to get us a Bloodrazor, and that gives us another chance to get something early on, like maybe an Ironhide to survive or a Warpath. And we picked up Brawl and Shield Slam. That's not bad.
Okay, so it's even Paladin. So, and look, so we will end up on turn 2 having all our weapons in our hand.
That's right. And this isn't the odd variation that a lot of people have seen. So you're not going to have the tank up, but you are going to generate quite a bit of armor. Because you're going to be doing a lot of armoring up and using your hero power while you stall out to get to those late, turn 6 plus turns. Your first 5 turns are pretty much just keeping the board managed. Well, this is an obvious Forge of Souls turn, right?
I don't know. So I'm looking at this, and with Bloodrazor, do we really need to forge now? Would it not be better just to armor up? And since we don't have a direct answer to the...
we can forge next turn.
Yeah.
So hero power?
We can forge an Ironhide next turn, but hero power this turn. In the end, it nets us an extra 2 armor.
Yeah, and I don't hate that play, and that's what I'm going to do. The only counter to that is if we draw a weapon next turn, then Forge of Souls becomes less valuable and doesn't thin our deck more. Because not only does Forge of Souls get you weapons, it thins your deck so you can draw into those needed cards like Brawl and Gather Your Party. And you really want that. You really don't want to draw any of the legendaries at all, really. You want all those to possibly be pulled, with the exception of Scourgelord, Garrosh, and Woe Cleaver, of course. You want those to be pulled early. Ooh. So the Bloodrazor's kind of tricky here. I almost think...
you're going to hit it.
No, yeah, but we're going to hit it with...
5,
Yeah, we're going to take 5 damage if we do that. The other option is to hero power and shield slam the Amani Berserker now. Are there any other big threats we want to shield slam?
So I'm going through my head here, and the only thing I can think of you're going to want to shield slam will be
Tareem.
Kareem and Knife Juggler, and you can
Knife Juggler, we can Blood Razor.
Right. I was going to say, you can just Blood Razor. Brawl gives you a good chance against Stream because he's not going to just do it on an empty board. So I say go ahead and Hero Power or Shield Slam. I think you'll be fine.
Okay. That sets up a better turn with Blood Razor next turn because I expect he's going to play a 2. He's either going to coin into Call to Arms or he's going to play a 2 mana with Hero Power.
Both of those Call to Arm. He will coin into Call to Arms here.
Both of those are good for Blood Razor. Unless he gets another Money Berserker, then it's kind of tricky.
I just want to say thanks for the cheers, ZZ Black.
Hey, ZZ Black. What's up, Zach? That's awesome, man. Thank you for the cheer. Ooh. And he hit both Jugglers and the Amani. That is really bad. And we got the second Forge of Souls. So the Blood Razor almost has to hit the Amani Berserker. And it leaves both of the Knife Jugglers on board.
Or
what?
Right now that's only 7 damage.
We can Brawl next turn.
We can Brawl next turn, so we could go ahead and Forge to pull the 2 weapons in and Ironhide. And let the Ironhide basically wash the damage and Brawl next turn.
So Forge to get the other 2 weapons.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of going to show our hand. He'll know we have Blood Razor at least. And then Ironhide?
I think so.
Okay. I like it. I don't hate that. That stops 5 of the 7 damage coming in, not counting the daggers that are going to hit. Unless he has if he has a second Call to Arms, this is beautiful.
Uh-huh.
Oh, please have the second Call to Arms. Do it, you won't.
I mean, we pretty much told him we have Brawl here.
Light Fuse. Okay, that's why he did that. I was wondering why he did it with just one dude on the board. He was going for the plants. This way, he's going to have 2 1/1s, which is fine. So we're brawling, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we want the Silverhand Recruit to survive?
I would say we want anything but their money to survive.
Okay. And the Amani survive. I mean, we could kill it next turn. We'll take 5 face damage.
Yeah.
There's a recruit.
There we go. Asking you shall receive, sir.
Yep. I do not hate that.
Glad to see after 2 weeks off we still have the touch.
That's right. Ben Brode's already has left Blizzard. He's still hooking us up. We appreciate it. The plated beetle edition is an interesting edition. So he's going to have 2 1/1 survive on this board still. Oh my gosh.
We want to save that, right?
Yeah, because this doesn't have Divine Favor, so he's not going to have a lot of refill.
Yeah.
But he does have the draw of Blood Mage Thalnos. I think we Blood Razor into the Plated Beetle and Hero Power. The problem with that is it leaves 2 1/1s for Tareem this next turn. But we can brawl that away.
Yeah.
So Blood Razor into the Beetle.
I like that.
And then Hero Power.
Mm-hmm.
We will probably need to ditch the Forge of Souls at some point because it's going to really weight our hand down with Dead Man's Hand later?
Yeah, we can throw it away. Actually, we can probably throw it away this turn.
We'll see where our mana lies. If we have 2 floating mana, I'd say we throw it away. Now, if he dumps his hand, we may have a Bring It On turn, but I don't think he'll dump that much.
I can't imagine he doesn't Tareem here. If he doesn't, he's just being greedy.
If he doesn't Tareem here, it's because he doesn't have it.
I was going to say, it's got to be one of those first 2 cards.
Well, that's kind of what we're going to do next turn anyways, right?
Yeah, but so we know our turn 10 play, right?
Do another Blood Razor. So if we Blood Razor this turn and clear out one of the Chain Gang, this will set up for Rot Face next turn.
Yeah, I like that.
So Blood Razor.
Yeah, I don't hate it at all.
And I feel like we're at a high enough life total that we can go ahead and pitch our Forge of Souls now.
You don't think we need to Hero Power?
Well, so what's he going to do this next turn that's going to immediately cause us to have to worry about our life total that we can't brawl our way out of?
That's a good point.
Avenging Wrath? He could Avenging Wrath. That's going to be 8. That's going to be hard to climb out of.
So here's my question.
But
what about Bring It On to maybe get him to dump his ham so we can brawl?
I like Bring It On into Geosculptor Yip.
So don't do it now?
I wouldn't do it now.
So just pitch the Forge of Souls. Okay. All right. I'm down with that. It just opens our hand up a little bit.
Yeah.
I really want to see Rot Face next turn. I'm hoping he doesn't play into a board we have to brawl on. I wonder if this is a Valenier turn. No, not Valenier. Spellbreaker.
He's just trying to get board pressure.
Okay, so we're going to... No, we don't want to Warpath this turn because we want to Warpath after he lays his dudes down.
Right.
So this is still Rot Face.
Rot Face is still out. See, he played that Spellbreaker a turn too early.
Yep. Which tells me he probably has another Spellbreaker, which is fine because I'd rather him use it on Rot Face than Geosculptor. Yep.
Right. So I say you Rot Face, hit that Sarnot Chain Gang.
What do we get out of the box? What toys do we get, Rot Face?
Please do Hogger.
Lord Godfrey. Hogger would have been best. So if he does not kill Rot Face or silence it, how's he going to do 5 damage in one turn, in one swing?
Crusader Champion?
He'll have to use an equality play. And this deck does run Equality Consecrate.
Yeah, it would feel really bad to have to Equality Consecrate this board. But
it would, but I think that's his choice. Or even just Equality. There's the other Spellbreaker. Awesome.
He'll send it to face. Put us on 12.
No, it looks like he's going to clear. He's going to clear Godfrey. So this is all day. All day this is Yip. Bring it on Yip, right?
We're still 1 mana away from that.
Oh, wait, that's right. We're in turn 9, aren't we?
I think there's no reason to keep Warpath around now. So I say we slam Spellbreaker and Warpath. Armor up.
We don't War Cleave at all this turn?
Woe Cleave? I mean, we could Woe Cleave and just kill Spellbreaker. That's fine, too. You run the risk of Sound the Bells.
Tareem.
And Tareem. Tareem ends the game.
Yeah, so we need to slam.
That's why I was thinking slam.
And then just one Warpath?
Yeah. And then, okay, so now you go ahead and Warpath.
Okay.
Now I say we can go ahead and bring it on. And Hero Power since we've got 2.
Works for me. because he's only got 3 reduced cards if they're all minions. He might have weapons. Valanir's ran on this list.
Yeah.
I think at least 1 True Silver Champion still on this list.
You got Argent. You got Argent
So-
Commander you got to worry about.
Yeah, but Argent Commander, I'm not really worried about it because there's Valanir. So
Yeah.
that's 1 card.
So he couldn't cast. But yeah, he didn't have a minion to cast, or he's not willing to cast it now.
Yeah.
He could be waiting on the Valanir. So this is where I think we go ahead and Geosculptor Yip.
And we don't even need, do we go ahead and bring it on again?
I don't think so.
Save it?
I think we save it. So we Geosculptor.
Save it for after Garrosh, right?
Right. So you save it. Go ahead and armor up again.
Yeah. What's in the box? And see, now we're going to get a 10 cost. So we get the pool of 5 10 cost.
Right. And see, that's why we say bring it on, so that we get another 10 cost next turn.
No, we don't. He's getting rid of that fast. There's the equality we thought he would have played before, but he held it. So he had Valanir and equality in his hand. We got great value off of Bring It On.
There's Avenging Wrath. I thought he had Avenging Wrath.
Which is usually what those are the 3 cards they had. So he didn't have anything reduced.
Right.
So now we will cleave, right? And just go face with it?
Yeah.
Or do we clear a 1/1?
I don't see. You know what? No,
we will get. We'll get Gromosh, Lich King, or Ysera.
Yeah, we hope that we get Lich King or Ysera. Gromosh will be all right, but
we'll cleave. Where's it going?
Well, we want to limit the Valor. Do we want to limit the Valor options? I don't think we do, because if he draws into Argent Commander, then we want 3 minions up there that Valanir may hit, right?
Well, those are minions in his hand, so that doesn't affect.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I keep thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I say we go ahead and clear the minion, and he's only got 2 cards in hand. We may as well bring it on.
We got Ysera. So bring it on.
Bring it on again. Yeah.
Okay. I think we got this now. Oh, Ysera Awakens. That's wonderful.
Yeah. I think that card right there just gave us the game.
He's only got 11 cards left in his deck.
This has to be equality and clear on Ysera, or I think it's over.
He's already used 1 equality.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he could hit the Ysera, have the Valanir go on Argent Commander if he had it in his hand, and then finish it off. So he only had the 1 2-cost minion left in his deck.
Too bad we don't have the silence here. You know what? I say we don't even worry about the brawl. I say we
Slam?
We shield slam Terrain, and then I say we bring out. Let's
Gromosh and hit the 3/3.
Shield slam Kareem and run the Gromosh into the 3/3 and Woe Cleaver to the base.
And this will bring out Lich King, which protects our Gromosh. Yep, I like it. Now, my experience with this deck is I usually only get 1 good pull off of Woe Cleaver. And so it's really nice that we've gotten 2 good pulls. Now, Gather Your Party is dead in the deck.
It is
because we're out of minions.
I was getting ready to
That'll
say,
do it.
Army of the Dead is pretty much done too.
Yeah, and he probably could have cleared that, but at that point, I mean,
we're ahead in the fatigue race. We're so far.
We're ahead in the fatigue race, and he has no minions left. He has the Argent Commanders. That's it.
Avanti, you still awake over there?
Oh yeah, working on stuff behind the scenes.
Okay.
As usual. He's our Wizard of Oz. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain with the giant purple belly.
Yeah, I've been sitting way too long. It's really starting to hurt, so.
Okay, so another warrior. So, if I'm not mistaken, he's going to be playing Rush Warrior. I could be wrong, but I'm sure he is. What do we think? We think we need to keep the brawl?
I think we need to keep the brawl. I think we toss Warpath and we toss Woe Cleaver. I think we keep the brawl and the Dead Man's Hand.
We keep the Dead Man's Hand?
I think so.
Okay. I think I played Eliamar on the ladder, and I think he's Rush Warrior. I could be wrong. The name seems familiar. No Baku.
Right.
And if we don't see the quest, this is likely Rush Warrior or a mirror. I'll just pass.
I mean,
there's no reason to Ironhide now.
right. So I'm thinking, what do you have in your hand right now? You got a Blood Razor, you got a Brawl, you got Ironhide, and you got Bring It On. This isn't a bad Dead Man's Hand.
It's not a good one. You want a Dead Man's Hand some of your legendaries back into your deck for your recruit abilities. In my experience, the Dead Man's Hand is there for if you draw your Rotface, your Lich Kings, your Yseras early, put them back in your deck so you can pull them with Woe Cleaver. Yeah, this is a mirror. Forge of Souls pretty much, which means we can slow play this. So here, power pass.
Yep. And that's kind of why I was thinking the Dead Man's Hand was because of the mirror. It would give us one more Brawl, one more Ironhide, one more Bring It On for the fatigue match.
But I think because it is the mirror, we could probably get a few more turns of draws into our hand to get even better Dead Man's Hand, because he's not going to do anything till like turn 6. See, look at all these cards we're going to be able to Dead Man's Hand. I think we go one more turn though.
Okay.
Yeah, I like
pass.
one more turn to see what else we draw to put in, because we don't really have a solid turn 4 play. We have Blood Razor, but he's not going to put anything down. We're going to want a Blood Razor. So there's his Blood Razor, which gets very little to no value. It might signify he has something like Rotface in his hand. So he's just setting it up.
Right.
Which isn't a bad play, but I don't think it's the right play. Now I think we Dead Man's Hand.
So we coin first, right?
Yeah, because we don't want the coin.
Right. So we coin Dead Man's Hand, Shield Block.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
Dead Man's Hand. And then utilize all that mana with Shield Block. It will draw us another card. You got us Warpath. Awesome. That might... Warpath might not be good with Rotface. Everything else, though, Warpath will work okay against. There's his Shield Block. So now do we set up our Blood Razor?
Yeah, because our list doesn't run Weapon Destruction. Why would his run Weapon Destruction?
Exactly. So play it and go face. That'll set it up.
Yeah,
but we won't need to use it next turn.
Turns. So I would not use it yet.
Yeah, because we may have to hit something with it.
Right.
And we won't be playing Rotface until turn 8. And that's what I'd like to see as a gather your party. Ooh, he was hoping for Rotface.
Yeah. Because his hand's really full.
We need Shield Slam. Oh, Execute will work.
Yeah.
So Slam Execute?
Yep.
There's our Ysera. And Hero Power.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll probably want to swing it next turn. But that's really going to telegraph we have Rot Face on 8.
Right. There's his dead man's hand. All right.
This is going to be a long game, boys.
Yeah. So his Forge of Souls probably put Woe Cleaver in his hand. So I would imagine.
There's a second Rot Face. That's actually not terrible because we'll be able to Rot Face Warpath on 10.
Yeah. I think you just go ahead and I don't care that. Do you care that we let him know what we have?
I don't care. I say we go face.
Yeah, I say we go face.
Hero
Go
power.
ahead. Hero power.
Do we go ahead and Ironhide just to get another card out of our hand?
I don't hate it. That puts us ahead on armor count too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And we have an extra Ironhide in our deck too. I don't know. We don't know what he has. We also have an extra shield block.
Yeah. We also have an extra Bring It On.
Yes, we do. There's Lich King, which will deal with Rot Face, unfortunately. Ooh. We'll have to hit it. Or do we just play our Lich King and make him do an ultimate battle for Ultimate Destiny?
I like the Mexican standoff. Throw out our Lich King.
Okay.
Don't we
Hopefully he
have another
doesn't
Lich King
have-
in the deck?
Yes, we do.
I mean, it really is the mirror.
Oh, we lost together your party.
Yeah.
See, that's why we emptied some cards out of our hand, because we knew we'd get up to 10 cards.
Oh.
Obliterate. That's a good pull. There's his Ironhide.
We need to top deck a Execute.
Yes. An Execute or Shield Slam.
I was going to say,
Actually, Shield Slam would be better.
I think Shield Slam's the best pull here, right?
That's the worst pull.
So,
Do we hate the Doom Pact here?
see, I don't, because we've got both Rot Faces, so what are we going to miss? We're going to miss Woe Cleaver, which means that we missed the pull on one single Lich King and Gromosh and Geosculptor. But we still have 2 recruit.
Okay, so if we're
We still have 2
worried,
good parties.
if we're worried about the Doom Pact hitting Woe Cleaver, should we Forge of Souls first and then Doom Pact?
Yes. Wait a minute. Do we have enough cards?
No.
Yes, we do. We do.
5,
We'll go
6,
we'll
7,
go to
8.
10 with Forge of Souls,
Yeah.
and then then the Doom Pact will put us back down to 9.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
There we go.
And then Doom Pact
Yeah.
or the Shield Slam.
Okay.
Not great, but
Hero
not
Power
terrible.
Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really, unless he shuffled in another Lich King, that's our biggest roadblock. And I can't remember if he
Okay, so
had the Lich King or not.
that's 2 Ironhides
Yep.
for him.
Potentially 3 in his deck.
Yeah. Well, no, it could be potentially 4. He could have had both Ironhides. He did not
That's true.
Ironhide before he forged.
That's true.
Yeah, Mad at Arms in chat says that Doom Pact was basically that Shield Slam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. Oh, and here he's gonna go with his. He overwrote his Blood Razor charge.
Yeah.
Don't get Rot Face.
Geosculptor. Oh, that's not good.
Well, he won't get any taunts. Oh, so
I mean, we've got to forge Shield Slam here, right? Or did we brawl first?
No, I don't think we brawl first. Well, we might need to. Well, no, can we? Yeah, we got the mana for it. Brawl, bring it on, shield slam.
Yeah. Well, depending, because if it's just Geosculptor, maybe there's a different way, right? No.
Yeah, we could just hero power and then shield slam.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, that's
So
what I'm
brawl
thinking.
first.
Yeah, brawl first.
Hero power, shield slam.
Yes.
There you go. Hero power shield.
Ooh, this is. Oh man, this is such a back and forth. Hand management's real important.
Yes, it is.
This is probably going to go to fatigue.
Well, it all depends on how many minions he is able to put back with his forge. Because right now we only have 3 in our deck. So we know which 3 are going to pull out with Woe Cleaver. He's already gathered the party once. So it all depends on what he put back in his deck with forge.
That's true. I really want to get this rot face going though. I'm hoping he has a passive turn this turn. He still has rot face in his deck. Hopefully rot face doesn't come out. Oh,
There it is.
Didn't want to see. Oh, here he goes. Oh, and he's got a full turn to Warpath. Okay, that's kind of a weak pull.
Yeah.
We need one of our 2 brawls.
Yeah.
Does he continue to Warpath? It's a question. I think he has to.
He's already went down that road.
You better hurry. Oh, he's getting bad ones. Do we just try to out rot face him?
I'm not really a fan of that.
Me either.
What
But
other
what we-
options do we
But
have?
what we could do is we could throw down our rot face, hit his rot face with our weapon, and then Warpath. We'll get 1 come off our rot face, but his rot face will be dead, and he'll
We'll get 2 off our rot face.
2 off our rot face, and he will get
He'll get 2.
2 off his too. But
Mhm.
you will have weakened the lady in white enough that
And the rot face
you know,
and his rot face will be dead. Not
Correct.
right. That's where I would go with it.
I think that's the only play we have.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
So hitting rot face, he'll get a dude, and then we're gonna Warpath, right?
Right. Oh.
Damn it.
Oh yeah, that's bad.
Oh,
we
we
got
got a
2 taunts. We got 2 taunts.
Oh, we got ring.
And we got Death and Decay.
We've got
And
a
we
ring
got red.
condition.
Oh, we got a ring condition.
Okay, whoever said let's try to out rot face him, you win. I concede.
You're welcome. And we still have a rot face. That was really epic. That was pretty good. I mean, he got a Grobosh, which is bad. But
right.
how is he going to get around our taunts? Well, there's an execute.
one, and then
Well, he can run
the
through.
Lady in White and no, he's going to recruit one.
Second
Oh,
hell
he
screen.
put-
So he almost has to hit Gromosh. No, he's going to run Lady in White. Okay.
Yeah.
So he shuffled the Gromosh back in. Clip. Man at Arms clip.
It's like a Trollden video. Oh yeah, woo! 5 minutes
Oh
later,
my gosh.
you're lost.
Yeah, still lost. Still 5 minutes later, still lost. So we need Brawl?
Brawl.
Yeah. Wait, does that help us?
I don't think it. If we could fit in Death and Decay, yes, but we
can't fit in Death and Decay.
Trying to think of a line here. Death and Decay still leaves up the 2 Gromoshes. We can double Bring It On and Death and Decay, and the double Bring It On negates the Hellscream.
Yeah.
That's like the only line I see. And we can only hero power with that.
Yeah.
Do it?
Do it. Let's see.
Hey, we don't have much of a choice.
Yeah. I don't know what minions are in his hand, but we do have the ring condition if we can get this board managed. And Brawl doesn't even really help us.
Oh my God!
How? What? Oh wait, he got one off
of
Rotface.
Rotface, and then he
Shuffled another.
Shuffled
Oh
one
my!
in.
This is getting that's screenshotted.
I mean, this is done. He's just being a jerk now.
No, he doesn't have lethal.
Yeah,
That's only 35. 35. Yeah, okay, that'll do it. And Nightmare. Nice. Well played. That was good. I liked it. You know what? Hey, we can say this.
You can be a jerk.
Recruit Warriors 2-0 tonight. Right? I count that as a win because Recruit Warrior won.
Yeah. No, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. Oh, all right. Well, guys, one show under our belt since we've been back. So
yeah, technically 2-1. Matterhorns is right. Technically, it's 2-1.
That's true.
Okay, technically 2-1. We'll put that. We'll put an asterisk in the record books on that one when we do our next milestone show.
Yeah. So, all right. That's going to pretty much do it for us this week, guys. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button on YouTube if you've not done so already, or give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted when we go live. For more details about our patron-only Discord or our monthly tournaments, check out patreon.com/heropower. And until next week, good gaming.
Bye, guys.
Adios, muchachos.